Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have with us a very special guest. For those who are new here, welcome to Empowered RN. And we have a guest with us, and it's Cherise, the legal nurse. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the various nursing areas that we can enter in. And one is legal nursing. And over here, we're going to give you all the deets, the secrets of how you can shift and go into different specialties in nursing. Welcome, Cherise.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'm so happy to be here. And I know you and I have been trying to collaborate for a while. So I'm so happy and honored to finally be able to.
Yes. So Cherise is also on social media on TikTok, YouTube,
Mhm.
Instagram.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, all social spaces, and we're going to follow her. And remember to like, share, and subscribe over here, and go over to Sherry's YouTube page where she talks about legal nursing. Before we jump
Yes.
into legal nursing, Cherise, I want you to tell me a bit about yourself, and then we can jump into what is legal nursing.
Okay. Well, thank you. So my name is Cherise Pate, and I'm the owner of CCP Legal Nurse Consulting. I have been a legal nurse consultant since 2007. I have been an independent legal nurse consultant since 2007. That's where I gained my first attorney client, and I kind of moved forward until 2024, right? So by trade, I am a registered nurse. I have been
Mm.
an emergency room nurse for 23 years. This June will be
Oh,
24 years, yes. All trauma, all emergency, right? I've done the emergency room and legal nurse consulting throughout my career. Um,
mhm.
I love nursing. However, like most of us, I got tired of bedside. I
Wow.
still love taking care of people. I still love impacting nurses and patients as well. However, it just became super overwhelming
Mhm.
after, the pandemic. And that's when I decided to really rev up my legal nurse consulting business and start teaching nurses as a nurse coach how to
Mhm.
leverage their nursing careers through legal nurse consulting to live a better life.
Wow, I like that. 23 years of nursing experience in the ER, and now you're a legal nurse. Before we jump into anything else, you said that you got burnt out and you just felt tired, but you still loved nursing overall. And what gave separate and apart for that? Did you have like a mindset shift to just start making money or just to be on your own before you did that?
That's a good question. So I'm going to say it was a little of both, right? I had some traumatic experiences like we all did during COVID, right? So
Mhm.
my traumatic experience was not necessarily dealing with the patients. I actually had a loaded gun stuck to my left temple while I was on assignment. I'm not going to say where, but just on assignment, right?
Yeah.
I I remember turning the corner of the hotel that we were staying, and I hear click, 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 click. And I was just like, "Whoa, wait, wait, like, because when this happens to you, you just
Yeah.
never know how you're gonna respond, right? So
True.
I was frozen. But anyway, it was a SWAT team. There was an incident that was going on in the hotel that was unbeknownst to the nurses that were there. And
Mhm.
I remember the next day going to work, and I had a few more days of my assignment, and I was just so numb. And that's just not my normal personality. I was
Mhm.
just like numb. I just couldn't like understand. I didn't know why that happened. I was thankful to be alive, because I could have gone a whole different way. And this is right around the time where we had several, you know, incidences, around the
Mhm.
world. We all are very aware of, the major incidents that happen. So I'm very, thankful that nothing happened. So
Mhm.
when I left California, I came home and I was just numb,
Mhm.
you know. And for at that time, 21 years, I have been impacting people. And I truly took pride
Mm-hmm.
on the way I was able to connect with my patients and other nurses, like newer nurses, because I was a mentor, I was a charge nurse, I was a preceptor, I was a resource nurse. So
Everything.
that everything, all in one tied up in a nice, cute little bow, so that was one shift of my mindset. And the second
Mm-hmm.
shift that you were saying, I was just like, I wanted to have more freedom of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have more freedom of my own schedule. I
Yeah.
didn't want to have to email anyone, go onto anyone's portals and or however, put in any PRN or not PRN, time requested off, So that was a mind shift. So I said, you know what? I had to do this.
Yes.
And I
Time
did it.
time to go. Yes.
Time to go.
So
Yeah.
with legal nursing, everybody will hear legal nursing and that thinks that is just related to law, and you'll have to go to law school to get into legal nursing. Could you tell us that what specifically legal nursing is?
Yes, I sure can. So legal nurse consulting does not have you don't have to go to any more schooling unless you choose to. And
Mm-hmm.
the biggest question, I'm going to answer your question, but the biggest question that I get asked as a coach or a legal nurse consultant is, do I need certifications?
Yes.
And the answer is no. So
Mm.
we can use the skills and the expertise that we already have. Okay.
Mhm.
So and I'm going to pull those skills on in a second, but I'm going to answer your question. Legal nurse consulting is the nurse that is tying the medical portion with the legal portion of a
Oh,
chart of a negligent case, whether it's medical malpractice, personal injury, torts, liabilities, workman's comp, right? So
yeah.
we are going through the cases, the records, the medical records that the attorneys give us, and we are reviewing these cases, and we are looking for certain deviations in standard of
Mhm.
care, um, mainly in standard of care, or if it's a personal injury case, whether these people had pre-existing injuries before there. A lot of time car accidents, that's a big one,
Yeah.
so we're looking through the charts to identify these things. So no, you don't need any more um, knowledge or schooling to do something that we do on a daily basis. And I tell people, we are the ones that create the charts.
Yes.
Think about it. Being in the emergency room, especially if I was in a triage area, when a
Mhm.
person comes in, hi, what's going on? Oh, I have abdominal pain, so I'm writing the chart. You have abdominal
Mhm.
pain. Where is it located? How long has it been there? What does it feel like? Does it come and go? Does it leave when you eat? So things like that. And then when they go back to so that was triage. So when they're put into a room to see the doctor's writing notes, and the nurse that's taking care of that patient are writing notes. And then they go to X-ray and CAT scan, and those results are input into the chart. So we know already how to document,
Right.
how to read. We know how multidisciplinary teams interact and correspond with one another. So
Mhm.
we know lab results, medication errors, if a nurse didn't document properly. So these are things that we can pick up. Like if you took report from the day shift nurse and you're looking
Mhm.
through the chart, and I'm not nitpicking or saying that we're all perfect, but you can look and see, oh, they didn't document, blah, 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 right?
Right. So in the
So
event that in the event you're basically working as a legal nurse, you'd be like, I think the connector of making a connection with any discrepancies with regards to healthcare, which is our skill, and helping the legal attorneys to make that connection. And it's
yes,
based heavily on our experience in the area and knowing what is standard and what is not standard. So that's
right,
basically
yes,
right.
Right. That's a great summation. Thank you.
No, you were saying it. We're just looking at it. I'm saying that we're basically connecting the dots because we don't need
Mhm.
certifications because we already have the skills and everything already. All right.
Yes.
My next thing is that since we don't need certifications, do you
Uh,
need experience?
That's another question that I get asked a lot. So I'm going to answer that like this. As a new nurse, a brand new nurse, this is just my recommendation and my opinion. I do not recommend a brand new nurse with very little knowledge going into legal nurse consulting. Why?
Right.
Because if you're not confident or comfortable with
Hmm.
documentation, because that takes time, right? That takes time to get used to your flow and how you're documenting because you want to, assist these attorneys in their cases, right? We are
Right.
making the medical sense for these attorneys, right? That's what we're doing. We're taking
Hmm.
this all this medical jargon and we are breaking it down, and we need to be able to tell them if something was omitted, if there was a standard of a deviation in standard of care, if the person had, previous personal injuries. So lab results that may not be accurate or out of range, whether they were high or low. Sometimes we may have to give our expertise on what we would do with that. Did they provide the right treatment, for that? So
Right.
I do suggest that a nurse has experience and
Experience.
yeah, and they're comfortable with documentation.
So would you say at least 2 years experience or even more?
I would say at least 2 years experience.
Right.
Especially if you're a fast learner and depending on which area you are working and how quick and how good of a preceptor you had,
Mhm.
because that all plays a part in how successful you're going to be in your career.
Right. And I think the experience will be very important too. And the other question that I'm going to touch on is that when you're working as a legal nurse, you're basically working on your own. You can set up your own practice. How do you get clients? How do you source, individuals to work with you? Do they come to you, or do you have to go out and search for clients to work with?
Good question. So, I am an independent legal nurse consultant. So, yes, you hit it on the nail. I do work from home, I work on my own. But there are in house legal nurse consultants where they go into the office, they're hired by the attorneys, they go to work. I always say 9 to 5. I don't know what the real hours are because I've never done that. But to answer your question, as an independent legal nurse consultant, I do market.
Hmm.
I have letters, I have case reports, samples that I send out. I make follow-up phone calls, so that takes time, that takes effort.
Right.
And I also get repeat attorneys in word of mouth.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So, would you suggest that I like the fact that you said you have different types of legal nurses? You have ones that are in house, meaning that they work with a specific law firm, and then you have those that are independent. Would you suggest for someone who is a nurse and wants to start their business on their own to start with independent? I don't know if you did that first, or you did in house first, or then go independent, or independent first.
Right. I started independent first, and I
Um,
believe that question, yeah. So I'll tell you quickly on how I got started. I was
mhm.
on a travel assignment because I traveled from 2007 until 22,
Wow.
2022, right? No, I was not full time anywhere. So that was just, I was okay with that. So I was on assignment in California, and then I seen another nurse who I grew to know. So I asked her, I said, "Hey girl, what are you doing?" And she says, "I'm working on a case." So at first I thought, is she in trouble? Is she in trouble? I mean, because I'm like, what, because I never heard of it. What do you mean you're working on a case? And so,
Yeah.
she laughed at me. She's like, no, not in trouble. And but she explained that to me.
Hmm.
So at that time, there was not a lot of information. There were a few well marketed legal nurse consulting courses out there. So I found a book and I just followed that book to a T. I did exactly what she said, and I got attorney clients. I had this client that I met from he was from Philadelphia, and I was here in Georgia. And
Mm-hmm.
he used me for 10 years. We never met. We corresponded through emails, very seldom on telephone calls. And he continued to use me, and he referred me to three other of his colleagues. And so
Oh,
yeah, we had that relationship for from 2007 to 2017.
wow. I
Yeah,
like that. And that's how you got your foot in, and that's basically through like word of mouth
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything. So
Mhm.
you can set up your own practice, you source your clients, and do you say for instance, do you have to have experience in a certain specialty or it doesn't matter? Because I think it would be general, right? It wouldn't matter if you have experience, or do you think it would be better if you have experience in like an ICU train, but or it depends on the cases that you receive?
Yes, it depends on the cases that I receive. So, with me being an emergency room nurse, I know a little about a lot of things, right? It's because we get different, areas that come into the emergency room. Okay. So, for me, I personally would not really do a case with labor and delivery because I'm not
Mhm.
really, up to, that's out of my expertise. What I would do is I would subcontract or with a nurse that has that knowledge,
Mhm.
so because if you want to help that patient and that attorney, win their case. I also, so that's if you're just writing a case report.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter which specialty you have because there are cases that come from everything. I've done preoperative cases, I've done nursing home cases, I've done slips and falls in a hospital, I've done injuries in a hospital, I've done delay of care, delay of treatment. So these are all things that we all have, regardless of where you're working. Med surge, ICU, wherever you work. However, if you want to be a testifying nurse witness, which I recently became in 2021, you do have to be in that specific area. So
Area.
if I go on stand and testify, it has to be an emergency department room or whatever you call it in your area nurse. I could not testify on a neuro ICU, because that's just not my area of
Right.
expertise.
That's
Hmm.
not your area of expertise.
Yeah.
And like the
Mhm.
fact that you said you were at work and you met somebody who said that they were working on a case, and that's how you found out about legal nursing. For me also, that's how I heard about it too. I met somebody at work and they were saying to me that, I was a legal nurse, and I was like, okay. I worked in
Mhm.
a case, and then she told me that, you know how much I made, and the money that she told me was more than travel nursing money. I was like, okay.
Right. That is so
And I was
true.
yes, and I was asking her how to get in, and you told us those steps already. And I'm gonna ask, can you make six figures with legal nursing? Are you there? You're hearing me, Charisse? I think her
Uh,
camera froze. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. You definitely can make six figures as a legal nurse consultant. And how does that happen? Right? Because that's the next question. If a nurse can charge between 150 to $200 to review an hour to review a case,
Yeah.
right? And a case, depending on, because each case varies in size, and length, and the time that you can, and the time spent on a case and the hours invoiced to an attorney. So if you get several cases a month, times
Hmm.
that by a year, you can definitely make six figures as a legal nurse consultant, which I have done. And it's a lot easier for me to work from home in my pajamas. I make from in my pajamas than it is for me to get up, drive an hour to work, get slammed in the ER, right?
Short staff. Short staff.
Right, short staff. short staff, you know, difficult patients, cardiac arrest all day. I'm not doing that. If I want to work 2 hours on one case,
Mm-hmm.
or a day, I'm sorry, two hours a day on a case, or 4 hours a day, I can. I just make sure I get the deadline from the attorney so that I meet the deadline because that's important.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
My other question with you, you said that you work from home for so obvious you don't need to have a physical space. You can run a full online business with legal nursing.
Yes. So I run a full line online, full at from home online
Um,
business, and again, I stress the importance of there are times where attorneys will call me. I
mhm.
do not see them physically. They send me the medical records to review in like a secured, either like a Dropbox. There's another, it just slipped my mind, another encrypted, where you can put a code in to look at it. And I write my report, I send it back, I send them the invoice, and they send me the check. 9 times out of 10, I've been paid by a check.
Right. Good.
Hmm.
I'm loving it, and I love that you stepped out on your own, and it's a business that you just started on your own. No certifications, no level of education. Really, are much more going back to school that is needed.
Yeah.
Now, since working in the area, you're running your own practice. Do you think it would be an advantage if you switched over and went back to law school?
For me, no.
Mhm.
Law, like being a lawyer and a legal nurse consultant are two
Mhm.
separate things.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wait.
that would give me a leg up in
Mhm.
the if I'm going to review cases, because now I know what I'm looking for, but I don't know how to, try cases and go to trial
Right.
and stuff like that. So that's something that an attorney, may want to do depending on which area that they're practicing in.
Okay.
Hmm.
So my other question is that working as a legal nurse, and I know that I follow you on social media also, and I saw you talking about standards of care and all of those stuff. What skills do you think nurses especially need to have a high level of in terms of working as a legal nurse, because you're dealing with legal documents? If you miss something,
Hmm.
and they take this to court, and it was like, and they will be like, you should have known this, how did you not see this? So what skills do you think nurses need to have like an eye out for, something that would be an asset to go into legal nursing?
Right. So that's a very good question. So listen, we leave the legal stuff to the attorneys and they leave the medical stuff for us, right? So there may be some legal terms, and guess what I do? If I don't understand it, I call
Mm.
them up. Hi,
Right.
can you explain more about this so I can get it, and they'll sure, blah 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 blah, and I get that explanation. They want us to tap into our nursing skills, use our best judgment, use our gut feeling. They want us to let them know if something is right or if it was not right. They want us to let them know that the nurses deviated or didn't deviate from the standard of care. And you can get your standard of care. Every state has, standard of care. You can Google those. And a lot of times we can tell we won't need that, because we know when something was blatantly wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you mentioned state. Can you practice from all 50 states working as a legal nurse?
Yes, I can. Because if I'm writing a case report or reviewing a case report, yes, because legal nurse consulting is not governed by the Board of Nursing,
Okay.
right? So I currently I'm in Georgia.
Mhm.
I've had cases from Louisiana. I've had cases from Pennsylvania, from Florida, from Georgia. So you don't have to be in those states, and having a compact license doesn't matter because you're just looking at uh, the medical records. You can also, have the attorney contact the hospital to get policies.
Right.
procedures, because those do vary. They're kind of the same, but they do vary. And but again, if you want to be a testifying nurse expert or a testifying nurse witness, you have to be in the state that you are practicing in, and you have to be current.
Correct.
So yeah, so I left the ER in October, so of 2023. So I can still, like, if I get a case like right now, because I'm still current, right? If I
Right.
get a case, say, I don't know, next January, they might be like, we want you to be a little more current, because that just kind of helps them. They don't want to have the other attorneys like kind of, bash my skills. Like maybe she doesn't know what's going on or up to date. So
Right.
I've heard that from attorneys as well. So they want you to be currently practicing in your state to be an expert witness.
Expert witness.
Hmm.
So I have two questions for you. My other
Hmm.
question would be, when you're working with the lawyers, do they give you like a time frame, like prepare this case report and have it back to us within 3 months, or do you work on your own with regards to that?
Yeah, so they definitely give you a time frame. A lot of cases happen, and the case, if something happens in the hospital, you know, last month, it
Mhm.
typically doesn't get to an attorney that quickly,
Right.
or to trial, I should say, or, so it sometimes a case can take a year, or a
Mhm.
little longer. So when the attorney calls me, they may be like, okay, Sharice, like the statute of limitations is expiring. So I will need this case in 2 weeks,
Right.
or this case is of importance. So as soon as you can get it done, let us know. When do you think that can be, Or they may be like, this case is important, but it's not our priority. So you can, if you need 3 weeks to work on it, take the 3 weeks.
Take 3 weeks. So
Mhm.
my last question would be for you is, do we need a book? Do we need any videos to watch to start? Where can we find information to that nurse out there is listening right now and think, okay, I want to do this, but I don't know what to do? We know that you do coaching so they can do one on one. What
Yeah.
about a book, videos? What can we do? And do you have those resources?
I do have those resources. As you see on my name, Sharice the Legal Nurse at CCP Legal Nurse. That's my YouTube channel, right?
Right,
And I do drop some short videos on there, just to give you some, tangible but quick information that you
right,
may need. I do have an ebook. If you follow me on YouTube, go to my bio, and you can click on the Linktree link, and you can download my ebook. I do have some free resources on my YouTube channel and my TikTok, which I am Sharice Pate on TikTok. And the
right,
Linktree bio is in there. I do offer coaching. So my coaching program is it's a 12-week program where I teach the nurse one-on-one the legal nurse consultant is, the roles that they can do, the cases that they can work on, marketing to attorneys, locating these attorneys, writing a case report, right? These reading the chart, like pulling out that information, not just all the medical jargon, but the
right.
tangible information. So yeah, so I'm currently doing that, and I do have an email community which is growing. So
Okay. I want to ask you for those, and I'm going to drop them in the comment section below also when we repeat them for your ebook. You
mhm.
can do it you said you do coaching, the master class, and all of those, and we can follow you online with regards to that. So the nurses that are out there and interested to start something, don't know what to start. Here we have legal nursing that you can do from the comfort of your home, and you can start and seek advice from Sharice, the legal nurse. And that's what I keep saying. We have so many skills that are right before us. We just
Yes.
need to just jump out and start something,
Mhm.
and we
Yes.
can just
Yeah.
become entrepreneurs and
Mhm.
start making our own money and have control over our lives.
That is so true. Having control, making your own schedule and working when you want to and when you don't. So,
Nice. So thank you so much with regards to speaking about legal nursing. It's something that I actually like too.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely post the content that you talked about in your ebook and your masterclass and everything. I know I said I have a lot, one question, the last
Sure,
question,
sure.
but one more last question is to the nurse that is out there wanting to start this a business such as this, what advice would you give to them in terms of entrepreneurship?
In regards of entrepreneurship, don't give up.
Hmm.
Keep going. There are going to be days where you have a lot going on, you have a lot of cases, and there are going to be days when no one's answering the phones and you're just like, what am I going to do? I say that you are closer to the end than the beginning. So you got to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Even when it gets hard and you want to give up, that's the time you have to push more. That is the time you have to push more and have confidence and faith in yourself. Because and I'm not going to belabor this, but a lot of people come to me and they're like, but I don't know what else to do. I'm just a nurse. You have so many skills inside of you that if
Yeah.
you just tap into them and pull them outside of you, you'll be all right. But keep going.
Yes. And so keep going and tap into your skills. Thank you so much, Cherise, for coming over here, and thank you for collaborating.
Mhm.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and also like, share, and subscribe with Cherise, the legal nurse. She's on
Yeah.
TikTok making her videos. She's on Instagram and she's on YouTube. So you have everything that you need to do to start in legal nursing. Thank you so much, guys, and stay tuned for another video.
Yes. Bye.